Hi, I'm Robyn, and I work for Pinnacle Teaching Solutions. I want to share a few tips and tricks with you to help you prepare for your online teaching. I'm going to talk about three things: preparing your physical space, preparing your electronic space, and preparing your lesson plan. So starting with physical space, it's really helpful to set up an area that is both comfortable for you and helps you to stay focused. Probably you should use a desk or a table rather than sitting in an armchair because you'll need some physical materials accessible. Plus, having a set space means that you can have all the things you might need in one place, like a charger or a notebook. Setting up one space also allows you more control over how your video and sound are coming through if you're doing a live class. You can take a look at your background and make sure it's not too cluttered. Some people like having a black background, which really makes your face stand out more. If you're in a poorly lit room, consider having a lamp or other light source around your camera that shines on your face, which will help you stand out more as well. Natural light can be good, but it's unpredictable, and oftentimes it's too harsh. So if you don't have a lamp to use or something like that, you can actually just use the flashlight on your phone. Just position it somewhere that's about eye level near to your camera. It's also good to be aware of noises that might interrupt us, like phone notifications or other people in your house. None of these things is going to ruin a class, but preparing your space ahead of time will help you feel like it's a real lesson, and it'll minimize distractions for both you and your students. Preparing your electronic space is another important step. Obviously, learning what different kinds of programs or software can do for you is going to be useful, and keeping things updated where possible. There's a lot of new features coming out, particularly this year. Be careful to test out and practice any tool that you intend to use, and bring in other teachers if you can to help you test it out. Just a few minutes of, can you see this? What does it look like if I do this? Is going to save you a lot of headaches later on. If you're preparing for a live lesson, it's a good idea to open and load everything that you're going to use during that lesson. Just like you would prepare in a real class by spreading out your materials in front of you, drag files that you're going to need to your desktop, load web pages that you intend to show. Because you're going to be leading the class and operating some of these things, it can be a little confusing for students because they can't see what you're doing if you're looking for a file, if you're trying to figure something out. So having that all ready to go is a great way to prepare your lesson. When it comes to materials that you're going to be using, think ahead about how to make it easy for the students to access those. Prepare the students in advance to receive whatever you're going to send them. If they're going to get an email of your PowerPoints before the lesson, or show them how Google Drive works. Explain to them what using the chat feature looks like and how you're going to drop documents to them. Or if they're just sending messages in private messaging apps or in group messages, we want the focus to be on the learning, not on the tools. So any kind of preparation they have in advance is going to go a long way for that. Consider also how you can prepare your students in case something breaks down. If you suddenly leave the meeting, what are they supposed to do? If their internet doesn't work, what are they supposed to do? If you just give them a few steps in advance, that'll probably reduce their anxiety, but also just make sure that they know what's expected of them in case something doesn't work. And then when it comes to your lesson plan, of course, everything you already put in there is going to be useful still, but you might want to consider adding a few things to accommodate your new mode. For example, along with the materials you might already have in there, you might want to put in links to the web pages you're going to use or documents. Along with this, putting in meeting links or meeting IDs. Just in case there's an issue, you won't have to go searching for it. It'll be in your lesson plan. If you intend to send students chunks of text like instructions for something, perhaps in a chat box or in a messaging app, this can be typed out in advance in your lesson plan, which makes it really easy to copy and paste. It's going to help you focus during your lesson, and you don't need to check your spelling while you're doing it. As well, in your lesson plan, having notes about how the class is going to be structured is going to be helpful for you to think through beforehand as a teacher, but also just in case another teacher has to take over. For example, if you intend to mute the students or put them into breakout rooms, how do you intend to group them? Or what are the instructions you're going to give them on the tools that they're going to need for this task? All of that can be included in your lesson plans. And if you're teaching asynchronously, this can be even more important because it's a great way to remind yourself of what a full lesson cycle includes and to make sure that you're following a good process for your students, even if it's stretched out over a few days. So why don't you try? See what you can do to make your physical space more finely tuned to what you need. or adapt your lesson plan template to include some notes that pertain to your online elements. Have fun and happy teaching!